First, he called it kindness. Then, he called it control. But in the end, his own daughter called it what it really was, a lie. "You lied about me on national TV. I allowed her to stay on the show." This is the story of two women, a mother and a daughter, who shattered his illusion and took back their truth. But what if the Brown family's entire story was written by the man they escaped? Part 1. Once upon a time, the Browns were the face of polygamy in America, a family that promised love, unity, and faith. But behind the smiles, fractures ran deep.
The word just opulence
Maddie,
comes to mind.
Janelle's strong-willed daughter, grew up in that world, the quiet observer who saw more than she said. But as years passed, she watched her father's attention narrow from plural love to something smaller, centered on one woman. The children felt the distance. The wives felt forgotten. And Maddie? She learned early what it means when promises are broken on camera. Then came that moment, the post that millions of fans still talk about. In just a few lines, Maddie shattered years of silence, accusing her father and Robyn of spreading lies. She wrote that Kody's behavior taught her real quick how to protect her peace, a daughter reclaiming her voice in a family that once controlled every word. Within hours, the Sister Wives fandom ignited, hashtags trended, and the internet demanded answers. But what exactly did Kody lie about? And why was Robyn's name mentioned too? In the most recent season, Kody claimed his children had distanced themselves, suggesting he had no idea why they stopped coming around. But Maddie's words told a different story, one of manipulation, gaslighting, and rewriting history on national television. For fans, it was confirmation of what they'd suspected for years, that the truth behind the Brown family's fall wasn't shared equally. The camera told one version, but Maddie just exposed the other. Then came the twist no one saw coming. Maddie didn't just accuse her father. She revealed how his control shaped her adulthood. She spoke about learning boundaries, peace, and cutting toxicity from her life. It wasn't just a clapback. It was a declaration of independence. This wasn't a daughter seeking revenge. It was a woman setting herself free from the shadow of her father's reality TV empire. But freedom always comes with a cost, and the cost this time was family. The internet erupted. Some fans cheered Maddie's courage, others accused her of betrayal. For Janelle, Maddie's mother, this wasn't just social media drama, it was the echo of a lifetime of quiet endurance. Meanwhile, Kody stayed silent, until Robyn spoke out in a cryptic segment about family disloyalty. It was a battle for narrative, a war between truth and televised illusion. But who really controls the story when the cameras stop rolling? Years from now, when fans look back at the fall of the Brown family, they won't just remember the drama. They'll remember the daughter who dared to speak. Maddie Brush didn't destroy the Sister Wives' legacy, she revealed the truth it was built on. That peace sometimes means walking away. And maybe in breaking her silence, Maddie gave other daughters permission to do the same. The Brown family may have been built on faith, but it's falling apart on truth. Part 2. For more than a decade, America watched Kody Brown preach equality among his wives. Janelle, Mary, Christine, and Robyn. But behind the smiles was a man who slowly centralized control of money, of time, of narrative. Christine, the bright, nurturing wife who held the family together, began to fade under Kody's dominance. Her laughter turned to silence, her freedom to frustration. And when she finally left, Kody didn't see it as loss. He saw it as rebellion. But the real shock came when he tried to take credit for letting her stay visible at all. During a recent interview, Kody said, and I quote, "Letting Christine stay on Sister Wives was my act of kindness." He claimed Christine remained on national television because he allowed it, as if her voice, her story, belonged to him. For fans, this wasn't just arrogance, it was erasure, a reminder that Kody still saw himself as the gatekeeper of every woman's narrative. In that one sentence, Kody reignited a debate about ego, control, and the fine line between partnership and possession. But where did this mindset begin, and how deep does it run? Kody's pattern wasn't new. Over the years, viewers saw it in how he spoke to Mary, dismissed Janelle, and idolized Robyn. Christine often said she felt unseen, unheard, like her needs didn't matter unless they aligned with his. So when Kody called her freedom his kindness, it wasn't compassion. It was the final echo of control. But Christine's next move turned that control upside down, and fans witnessed a transformation Kody never expected. Instead of disappearing quietly, Christine re-emerged stronger than ever, radiant, laughing, and unapologetic. While Kody claimed ownership, Christine reclaimed herself on her own terms, in her own timeline, under her own name. The woman who once cried in silence now smiled in defiance. Her life became proof that freedom isn't granted, it's taken. And the twist. Christine didn't need Kody's permission to tell her story, TLC did. The network kept filming her, not because of Kody's kindness, but because America loved her truth. When Kody's interview aired, the backlash was immediate and brutal. Across YouTube, Reddit, and Facebook, fans called him out for rewriting history, turning generosity into control. Even loyal fans of the show began questioning whether Kody understood what love means outside of control. And as Christine's joy grew louder, Kody's narrative grew smaller. The audience once his had switched sides. But this wasn't just a family feud anymore. It became a cultural moment. Women everywhere saw themselves in Christine's fight. When history remembers the Brown family, it won't remember Kody's rules. It will remember Christine's courage. Her story became a mirror for every woman who's ever been told her freedom was a favor. Because real kindness doesn't come from control. It comes from respect. Christine's voice didn't end the Sister Wives' legacy, it redefined it. For Kody, kindness was control. For Christine, control became freedom. Let's deep dive in full details. Part 3. For more than a decade, the Browns were America's most famous plural family. TLC's Sister Wives promised a story of faith, unity, and modern polygamy. But behind those smiles, the cracks were forming. Control, favoritism, and emotional distance quietly corroded the foundation. Christine, Kody's third wife, often played the family's glue, the peacemaker. Maddie, Janelle's daughter, watched it all quietly, learning what power, ego, and love looked like through her father's eyes. For years, both stayed silent until silence became unbearable. And when Christine left, she wasn't just leaving Kody. She was exposing the illusion. In early 2025, during a behind-the-scenes interview, Kody made a statement that reignited the firestorm. To millions of women watching, it wasn't kindness, it was control disguised as generosity. It wasn't the first time Kody's words revealed his mindset. Legal documents and show contracts confirmed TLC's independent authority over the cast, not Kody. Yet he still claimed ownership of Christine's narrative. For Christine, that statement was a final insult, the idea that even after leaving him, her freedom still needed his permission. But Kody's control didn't stop with Christine, because this time, his own daughter had something to say. Just days after Kody's kindness comment went viral, Maddie Brush, once known as Kody's peacekeeper daughter, posted a fiery Instagram story that shook the Sister Wives fandom. In just 13 words, she broke a decade of quiet compliance, calling her father out for twisting the truth about her life and choices. Me real quick how to protect my peace. For fans, it was poetic justice, the next generation rejecting the same control that drove Christine away. The timing wasn't coincidence. It was lineage. Christine fought for freedom as a wife. Maddie demanded it as a daughter. But how did a father's need for control turn into a family-wide rebellion? Kody's pattern of control didn't appear overnight. Over the years, fans documented the shift from humble beginnings in Lehigh, Utah, to fame-driven chaos in Flagstaff, Arizona. Legal experts have pointed out that in plural marriages, especially non-legally binding ones, power often centers on emotional dominance rather than legal control. And as Christine and Maddie spoke out, fans began connecting the dots. Kody's kindness wasn't generosity. It was the illusion of ownership over women who had outgrown him. By the time Maddie spoke, the family had fractured completely. Janelle stood by her daughter. Mary retreated into silence, and Robyn still defended Kody's narrative, the last loyal wife in a crumbling kingdom. But what happened next revealed a twist no one expected. The public didn't just side with the women. They turned on Kody entirely. The backlash was instant. #TeamChristine trended again, Reddit threads exploded, and longtime fans began boycotting reruns, demanding TLC give Christine and Maddie their own spin-off. For the first time in years, the show's power dynamic shifted away from Kody's confessional control toward the women who had broken free of him. The man who once built a family around obedience now stood alone, while the women he underestimated built their own lives, their own happiness, their own legacies. The twist wasn't that Kody lost them. It's that he never realized they were never his to keep. And for fans, this wasn't just entertainment, it was a mirror. Christine's courage, Maddie's honesty, Janelle's quiet strength. Together, they formed a new legacy, one not written by Kody, but by the women who chose truth over tradition. For millions of women watching across America, this wasn't just about reality TV. It was about reclaiming power from people who think kindness means control. And perhaps that's why the Sister Wives story endures, not because of one man's authority, but because of the women who finally stood up to it. He said he allowed it. They showed he couldn't stop it. Back in 2010, America met the Browns for the first time, a family unlike any seen on television. TLC's cameras followed them through Utah's quiet suburbs, where love had 4 faces and one patriarch ruled them all. At first, it felt pure a message of faith, unity, and courage against the law. They faced police investigations, public shame, and religious exile. But even in those early episodes, something darker stirred beneath the harmony. Kody loved the spotlight, and where there's a spotlight, control soon follows. The family became a brand, and the brand became his weapon. Christine's exit didn't happen overnight. It began with years of quiet heartbreak long before cameras caught the tears. She begged to feel equal, to be seen, to be heard. But Kody's love had conditions, and every condition came with control. When she said, "I'm not happy," America didn't see rebellion. They saw liberation. That's when Christine began planning her exit, one moving box at a time. And when she walked out that Flagstaff door, she wasn't just leaving a man, she was leaving the myth he built. The night Kody's kindness quote went viral, the internet exploded. "She doesn't need his permission, she was the show," one fan wrote on Reddit. Another said, "Kody's act of kindness is textbook gaslighting." On YouTube, podcasts echoed the same truth. Women across America saw themselves in Christine's courage. In Facebook groups, fans shared their own stories. Marriages where kindness became control, where love meant permission. Christine's voice had done more than entertain. It had awakened something real. And as the fandom united behind her, Kody's empire began to crumble, not through scandal, but through silence. Psychologists have a term for what viewers saw: benevolent control. It's when authority disguises itself as care. When a partner says, "I'm doing this for you," while really doing it for themselves. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, a renowned expert on narcissistic dynamics, once said, "Control doesn't always come as cruelty. Sometimes it arrives wrapped in concern." That's what made Kody's comment so chilling. Christine's story, and now Maddie's, show how generational patterns repeat until someone decides to break them. And that's what viewers witnessed. Live on television. When kindness becomes a weapon, truth becomes rebellion. After the chaos faded, Christine began to rediscover joy not in grand speeches, but in small, everyday moments. This was her quiet revolution: family dinners without tension, laughter without permission. She found peace not in control, but in choice. And somewhere in North Carolina, Maddie was doing the same, building a home, raising her kids, and finally understanding that protecting your peace doesn't make you disloyal. It makes you free. Maybe this isn't just a sister-wives story. Maybe it's our story about women who were told to stay quiet, to be grateful, to smile through sacrifice. But Maddie and Christine proved something bigger, that truth doesn't need permission, and peace doesn't need approval. So to every woman watching this right now, if someone ever tells you they're allowing your freedom, remember this: no one gets to own your voice. And next week, we're going deeper. Janelle's secret independence, the finances Kody didn't control, and the real story behind Coyote Pass. Hit subscribe, stay with us, and join the conversation in the comments, because this isn't just a TV show anymore. It's a movement. If this story moved you, hit that like button and tell us in the comments. Do you believe Kody truly thought he was being kind? Or was it always about control? Don't forget to subscribe, because next week, we're revealing how Janelle secretly planned her financial escape.